couple of days ago on Israel by Iran pushed the world even closer to the brink of an escalating conflict.
It has pushed the region toward stability.
You believe your strikes have damaged Israel?
It does seem like at this point in time there are security concerns and Iran is at a disadvantage in this war. You support Hezbollah?
We support Hezbollah and we do not deny that.
Will Iran get more isolated as a result of what is happening? Are you worried, as Geeta said, are you being pushed into a corner increasingly?
This course has increased popularity of Iran in the region across the world.
Indian interests in Iran, how badly can they be affected and what are the conversations you're having with New Delhi?
India is an important country, influential country, not only at the region but at the international level.
You see 7th of October, sir, as a terrorist act?
Just October 7 was a military operation by a resistance group, not a terrorist act.
You accept that Hezbollah's attacks on northern Israel will be seen as an act of provocation?
No.
India Today exclusive. Joining us now is Dr. Iraj Elahi, His Excellency the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran to India. Appreciate your joining us here, Dr. Elahi, at a tough time for Iran and the world. I want to ask you straight away, has the missile strike of a couple of days ago on Israel by Iran pushed the world even closer to the brink of an escalating conflict, a conflict that could involve many more countries in the region?
First of all, I would like to thank you, India Today, Geeta and Mr. Rajdeep, for this opportunity that give me to talk to your audience. Since there is a mainstream media all over the world trying to misinform people regarding the development in the region, it is a good opportunity for me and I really appreciate this. Back to your question, we believe that Iranian missile strike not only pushed the world and the region toward escalation, but since the intention of Iran was deterrence against the invasion and violation of Israel, it has pushed the region toward stability. You know, this is a new narration of the situation in the region.
You're saying the missile strike has pushed the region towards stability?
Stability and security. How? Yeah, it's a good question. Very good question. You know, since the beginning of establishment of Israel in the occupied territory of Palestine, they have expanded their territory day by day, step by step. They have invaded different sides of Palestine. They have pushed Palestinians to leave their homeland. They destroyed by bulldozer, by different instruments, the houses of Israeli Palestinians, and nowadays even Gaza was Palestinian pure area which was populated by Palestinians. Now is nothing has remained in Palestine, in Gaza. Even in West Bank, they have occupied different parts of the West Bank. So comparing the current portion, Palestine, territory Palestinian, even the Mahmoud Abbas state territory to the 1947, 1963, 1967, 1973, nothing has remained for Palestine. So no one has stopped Israel from expansion. Expansionism of Israel has no limitation. So somebody should stop Israel from this.
Yeah. But Ambassador, how do you think Iran's missile attack will stop Israel? Israel has just said that they are going to retaliate. Biden might have come out and said, do not attack Iranian installations, nuclear installations. But all that talk has fallen into deaf ears when it comes to Netanyahu. Why do you say that Israel is going to stop or it's going to deter Israel?
You know, Israel does not understand, is not committed to the international law. It has proven that it is not committed to international law. Genocide in Gaza has shown and proved to the people that Israel do not pay any attention to the human principle, ethics. So it just understands the language of force.
So they might retaliate.
Israel did not see anything in front of itself. It occupies Lebanon, in Lebanon, even in Sabra and Shatila, inside Beirut, capital of Lebanon. They killed too many people in Sabra and Shatila camps. But when Hezbollah appeared, when Hezbollah got enough strength to push them back, they withdrew their forces from Lebanon and they went back. Of course, still there are some parts of territory of Lebanon is under occupation of Palestine, of Israel. But
you believe your strikes have damaged Israel?
We believe that. We believe that. First of all, we had no option just to retaliate the invasion of Israel on sovereignty of Iran because of assassination of Ismail Haniyeh inside capital of Iran. This is the first. The reason of our intention of our operation. This is something which should be clear for you and for your audience. This is one thing. Secondly, we targeted military and intelligence installation and structures of Israel, which affected its capability. Of course, Israel has support of United States. As you know, the new bombs which is used and deployed by Israel recently has been submitted to Israel by United States.
Ambassador Elahi, let's just come back to the war.
Yeah.
Right now, if you look at the war, it seems like Israel does have an upper hand because Iran has suffered great losses. Ismail Haniyeh being killed or assassinated on Iranian soil.
It was painful
Hassan
for Iran.
Nasrallah in the Hezbollah headquarters in Beirut or suburbs of Beirut. Qasem Soleimani having been assassinated, and the top rung, second rung of the Hezbollah decimated. Right now, in this war, it doesn't seem like Iran has much to show for in terms of capability. Netanyahu has said he can reach the heart of Tehran. It does seem like at this point in time there are security concerns and Iran is at a disadvantage in this war?
We believe that this is not the first time that Israel has threatened Iran. This is not the first time. And the assassination of General Soleimani, assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, loss of Hezbollah, Secretary General of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, are painful for Iran. But you know, our main concern is our national security, our national interest. You know, despite they are saying that Iran, they are accusing Iran that Iran is supporting its proxy. We do not have proxy. Of course, we support the resistance group. Resistance group is acceptable in all international law.
You support Hezbollah?
We support Hezbollah. We do not deny that. We have not denied that. At the high-ranking level, Iranian official said that Iran is supporting Hezbollah. Iran is supporting resistance group in the region because they want to liberate their homeland. It is according to international law. But, you know, the definition of terrorist is not, they are defining terrorists as they want. There is a double standard. There is a double standard. Assassination of Ismail Haniyeh inside Iran by explosion or missile or anything is not terrorist act. It's terrorist. But why many countries did not call it terrorist? Why many countries did not condemn this?
Which comes to the question, will Iran therefore find itself more isolated, be treated almost as a pariah state, not just by the West, but even by certain moderate Arab states who are worried that you are exporting this Shia, a kind of militant Shiaism across the region? Will Iran get more isolated as a result of what is happening? Are you worried, as Geeta said, are you being pushed into a corner increasingly?
We believe that our discourse has increased popularity of Iran in the region, across the world, and
even among moderate Arab countries?
Even among Arab countries. You know, you should separate Arab statehood, you know, statecraft, and people. You know, Hassan Nasrallah, who now is called and tagged as terrorist after war 2006, 33 days war between Israel and Hezbollah, was the first man in the Arab world. According to the poll which was done by different, and even in the Western countries, all the popularity of Iran has increased. We do our discourse to defend oppressed people of Gaza, oppressed people of Palestine.
So when Mr. Netanyahu,
popularity.
So when Mr. Netanyahu says or hints at a regime change, that all of this will lead to a regime change in Iran, says my war is not against the people of Iran, it's against the leadership of Iran, and hinting at a potential regime change in Iran, what would you say?
This is a dream, you know. For 45 days, not only Netanyahu as a puppet of United States, but the United States itself as a superpower tried to change the regime of Iran, but it failed. You know, we are not scared about the regime change. I believe that it's time to think about regime change inside Israel. Let's think about regime change in Israel. You know, Netanyahu has hijacked Israel, Palestinian, hijacked the whole region, hijacked the United States, hijacked the state of illegal regime of Israel, and security and stability of region for itself, for himself.
Is Iran, given the fact that Israel has vowed to retaliate, how secure is Iran from this threat that Israel poses? The US has said, don't target nuclear installations. But there is a question mark over oil installations, what that could do to the world. How secure does Iran feel today, given that there is now this omnipresent threat of Israel retaliating?
Iran has reached to a level of self-sufficiency in defense that can defend itself. Regarding nuclear installation, you know, we hope that the advisor or the Lord of Israel, which is United States, can convince or oblige it to not.
But are they listening to U.S.? Is Netanyahu listening to the U.S. at all?
But Netanyahu is receiving ammunition from U.S.
Okay. I really need to ask this. What is your expectation from India? Because there have been conversations with India. And India has a lot of interests there, not just in terms of oil, but in terms of infrastructure as well. So Indian interests in Iran, how badly can they be affected, and what are the conversations you're having with New Delhi?
Since the beginning of the tension between, you know, this recent tension between Iran and the region, I explicitly and occasionally mentioned that India is an important country, influential country, not only at the region but at the international level. It has good relations with Israel. It can convince Israel to stop genocide. According to the Hinduism, genocide is not accepted. You know, when you respect even a plant, when you respect an animal, so you cannot be silent. You cannot be indifferent regarding the genocide, ongoing genocide in Gaza. So India can use its influence to stop this genocide. Of course, there is a differences. You know, India called 7th of October as terrorist act. Okay. How many people were killed in 7th of October? How many people?
Over 1,000, which you presume, do you regard it as a terrorist act? Do you see 7th of October, sir, as a terrorist act?
Just,
Over 1,000 people.
Let's assume that
It was a terrorist act.
Let's assume that it was a terrorist act.
Yes.
1 is equal how many person? Nowadays, the number of casualties in Gaza has exceeded 41,000 people.
Your point taken, sir, but would you accept that it's a terrorist act? I take your point, Mr. Ambassador.
It means that
But do you accept that Hamas committed a terrorist act? Do you accept that Hezbollah's attacks on northern Israel will be seen as an act of provocation? Do you see when Houthis from Yemen target Israel, that's also seen as an act of provocation? And Iran is seen to protect all these groups.
No. You know, our viewpoint regarding the basis of the tension differs. So when the basis of the issue in your narration differs from mine, so
You're saying it didn't start on October 7th, it started with what you believe is the illegal occupation of Gaza and West Bank.
October 7 was a military operation by a resistance group, not a terrorist act.
Just a while ago said that you'll invite Indian journalists to go
Thank
to Iran. Are you going to assure us that we will be allowed to go to Iran, to cover Iran, to see what's really happening on the ground?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's an assurance. That's
good to hear, Ambassador.
Thank you.
I appreciate you joining us. You've taken the time, and we've given you the time to give your perspective, and it's important to have that perspective from Tehran. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What's the situation on the ground? How difficult have things become for people in Lebanon?
The situation on the ground is very bad.
Hassan Nasrallah is no more, but there was some conversation about a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Hezbollah.
Lebanon has always been calling for a ceasefire, for peaceful solution for all the crises in the Middle East.
Did Hassan Nasrallah agree to the ceasefire agreement? Israel had the option and the route to a negotiation and ceasefire with the Hezbollah that could lead to peace rather than the attack that was carried out immediately after. When was the ceasefire agreed upon? What is your assessment and reading of this ground invasion? Are they here to stay? Will they come and go? And how is Lebanon looking at responding?
This land is ours, and we are ready to defend it, even if we know that the enemy, our enemy, Israel, has the supremacy.
The war in West Asia is escalating. Lebanon has become the center right now of the onslaught from Israel. What's really happening on the ground? I'm being joined in an exclusive conversation with Lebanon's ambassador to India, Dr. Rabi Narsh. Dr. Narsh, thank you so much for speaking with India Today Global. You're here after just visiting Beirut. What's the situation on the ground? How difficult have things become for people in Lebanon?
Thank you, Gita. Thank you for having me. Well, the situation is an all-out war waged by Israel against Lebanon. The situation is bad. We have so far more than 1 million displaced from the mainly southern part of Lebanon and West Bekaa Valley, and from Beirut also. Plus, of course, you know that we have the about 2 million Syrian refugees that Lebanon hosts. So the situation on the ground is very bad. This is on the humanitarian side. On the military side, there is the daily attack by Israel, the unprecedented firepower that dropped on civilians. So far, also, we have more than 2,000 innocent civilian souls have perished, and more than about 5,000 wounded.
The Hezbollah has come under severe attack. Hassan Nasrallah is no more, but there was some conversation about a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Hezbollah, which, of course, the Lebanese government was mediating. Could you share details on that?
Sure, you remember we met and we had some interview about a year ago almost. And since then I told you that Lebanon is never interested in war. And Lebanon has always been calling for a ceasefire, for peaceful solution for all the crises in the Middle East. The one party who is against every political settlement is the terrorist state of Israel. Israel has always refused the political solution and has always resorted to military measurements. What happened recently, if we want to talk directly on the current situation, is that, yes, Lebanon has been working with international powers for a ceasefire on the Lebanese front and to kind of separate it from Gaza front. And there has been with the good offices of France and the USA even and some other European powers, there has been a kind of draft agreement for a ceasefire, ceasing of hostilities. But there was a kind of plot because even our minister mentioned it that late Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah himself agreed to a ceasefire. But then the assassination happened and the kind of breach of trust. Then the whole situation went to square zero.
So you are saying, did Hassan Nasrallah agree to the ceasefire agreement?
He did. Yes, he did. And there were some international envoys who were sponsoring this ceasefire. And it was, of course, it was conveyed to the international community through our foreign minister, who informed the international envoys that, yes, we are ready. Lebanon as a whole is ready for a ceasefire.
So you're saying that Israel had the option and the route to a negotiation and ceasefire with the Hezbollah that could lead to peace rather than the attack that was carried out immediately after. When was the ceasefire agreed upon? Was it just days before the attack on the Hezbollah?
It was obvious later that it was just a whole plot to assassinate Hassan Nasrallah. It was a plot that Israel would announce their first or the preliminary accept of ceasefire, and Netanyahu was in the at New York at the UN General Assembly delivering speeches, his speech, and then this assassination happened. All of a kind of plot, military plot to assassinate Hezbollah leader.
There's also information about the UN resolution and that the Lebanese government was ready to fully implement the UN resolution as well.
This famous UN resolution 1701.
Yes.
Yes, we have always been calling for the full implementation of 1701. Since the issuance of this resolution, Lebanon has been abiding by it, but the continuous violation of 1701 was from one side only, from the superpower of the region, from the terrorist state of Israel. They have always been violating airspace of Lebanon, the land incursion, the sea violation, so the violation of the sovereignty of Lebanon from all sides.
Dr. Narsh, the fact that we are looking at a very serious scenario and situation right now where Lebanon is under siege in many ways than one, and it's not just the bombing, the pager attacks, the walkie-talkie explosions, we will talk about that too, but we're also looking at ground invasion from Israel. We've seen that in the past as well.
Sure.
What is your assessment and reading of this ground invasion? Are they here to stay? Will they come and go? And how is Lebanon looking at responding to this?
They cannot stay. They cannot keep the control of the land. They have tried the occupation of parts of Lebanon. They did occupy it for certain years, but at the end of the day, the people of the land would conquer the occupation. Occupation never wins. History has told us so. The resistance is a legitimate right for every people under occupation. This land is ours, and we are ready to defend it, even if we know that the enemy, our enemy, Israel, has the supremacy, maybe the air supremacy, the weapons supremacy. They have the unprecedented firepower, maybe the best and the top technology of the world. But still, we know that we will win and we will defend our land. And when it comes to the ground, they tried only yesterday, if you, of course, you are following, they sustained grave losses of more than 15 soldiers when they tried to encourage in the ground. I'm not saying that it is uneasy, and they will not. They can, and they will try, and they might. But at the end of the day, they will be defeated, as we did in 2000 and 2006 and even before. We have this experience with Israel since its creation. For us, we know. Now the world maybe is seeing the true face of the terrorist state of Israel. But we know the fact since its creation that Israel is never interested in peace. Israel is an occupation state, occupation power that only aims to expand its land. Unfortunately, they justify this through a twisted and dangerous religious doctrine. This is the dangerous thing, that they justify this religiously.
Dr. Rabi Narsh, thank you so much for joining us here on India
Thank you.
Today.